It was raining hard. A man rushed to pick up his daughter from school when she suddenly stopped, dropped her umbrella, and pointed toward a young woman sitting alone on a bench, soaked to the bone, barefoot, and clinging to a tattered backpack. The little girl whispered, "Can she stay with us, Daddy?" And what he did next changed not just the girl's life, but all of theirs forever. Before we begin, please like this video and subscribe to Kindness Stories for more heartwarming, life-changing true and inspired tales. It was a gray, wet Thursday afternoon in the small town of Cedar Springs, Oregon. Heavy rain had been falling all day, and the sidewalks were slick with puddles. David Martin, a 41-year-old single father and auto mechanic, had just locked up his garage for the day. He was headed to pick up his 8-year-old daughter, Sophie, from Birchwood Elementary. Life hadn't been easy since his wife, Quinn, had passed away 3 years earlier. But Sophie, her tiny voice, her hugs, her endless questions, was what kept him going. As David turned the corner by the school, he spotted Sophie standing patiently under the awning, holding her rainbow umbrella. But his attention was quickly drawn to someone else. Across the street, sitting on a bench in front of a closed grocery store, was a girl. She looked barely 22. She was soaked through, barefoot, and hugging a backpack like it held her whole life. She wasn't crying. She wasn't begging. She just stared down at the sidewalk, motionless. David slowed down and parked as Sophie ran up and grabbed his hand. But instead of walking with him, she pointed. "Daddy, why is that girl so wet?" David glanced over. "Looks like she's been out here a while." "Why doesn't she have shoes?" Sophie asked. "Does she not have a home?" He paused. "Probably not, sweetheart." Sophie stared at the girl for another long moment, then looked up at her father with her innocent, pleading eyes. "Can she stay with us, Daddy? Just for tonight?" David froze. It wasn't an easy ask. Taking in a total stranger could be dangerous. But Sophie's voice, so pure and full of concern, reminded him of Quinn. The kind of woman who used to bring home strays, offer coffee to strangers, and smile at everyone. His daughter had her heart. "Wait here," David said gently, and crossed the street. As he approached, the girl looked up, startled. Her eyes were wide and tired, and she instinctively clutched her backpack tighter. "I'm not here to hurt you," David said softly. "Just wanted to ask if you're okay." She nodded quickly, avoiding eye contact. "Do you have anywhere to go tonight?" No response. "My daughter over there, she's worried about you." He pointed to Sophie, who was peeking out from behind the car, her little face full of hope. The girl's lips trembled. "I'm fine," she mumbled. "Really?" "I know you don't know us," David said, crouching down a little. "But if you want, we've got a warm couch, some soup, and dry clothes. Just for one night." The girl hesitated. Her eyes filled with tears she was too proud to let fall. "You don't even know my name." "You don't know mine either," David smiled. "Let's fix that." "Rachel," she whispered. "Nice to meet you, Rachel." "I'm David. And that's my daughter, Sophie." They rode home in silence, except for the sound of rain tapping the roof. At home, Sophie brought out her favorite pink blanket and gave it to Rachel. "It's really soft. Mommy gave it to me, but you can borrow it." David warmed up a bowl of chicken noodle soup and handed Rachel some of Quinn's old clothes from a donation box he never got around to dropping off. They were a bit loose, but clean and warm. Later that night, after Sophie had gone to bed, David stepped out to the porch and found Rachel sitting quietly, wrapped in Sophie's blanket, staring up at the sky. "Cold?" he asked. She shook her head. "Not anymore. Just haven't had a roof over my head in weeks. Or a warm meal." "You're safe here," he said. "At least for tonight." Rachel looked at him, then quickly away. But not forever. Nobody lets me stay forever. David didn't know what to say to that. So he just nodded. Let's take it one day at a time. What he didn't realize was how much she would end up changing their lives. The next morning, the sun peeked out from the clouds for the first time in days. Sophie bounded into the living room and grinned. You're still here. Rachel smiled sleepily from the couch. Still here. Yay. Want pancakes? David chuckled as he walked in. She's already adopted you. Rachel laughed softly. It was the first time he had heard her laugh. And it filled the room in a way that made David stop in his tracks. She wasn't just another person passing through. She brought something with her, a sense of calm, of comfort. A warmth he hadn't felt in years. Rachel stayed a few days. David offered her time to rest. But she didn't just lie around. She helped cook, cleaned dishes, even helped Sophie with her reading homework. She became part of their routine. Sophie was attached already. But one evening, David walked in and found her packing her bag again. Where are you going? He asked. I've been here too long. You've been kind enough. I don't want to take advantage. You think helping Sophie with her schoolwork and making the house shine is taking advantage? Rachel looked down. People don't just keep people like me. David stepped closer. 3 years ago, I lost someone I loved. I didn't think I'd smile again. But Sophie did something simple. She made me breakfast one day and said, Mommy would want us to be happy. That little act saved me. He looked Rachel in the eyes. You being here feels like that again. Like maybe we get to smile more. Rachel broke down crying. No one's ever said that to me. You can stay, he said. As long as you need. Word traveled in town. Small towns always talk. Soon enough, David's friend at the local diner offered Rachel a part-time job waiting tables. Within a few weeks, she opened her own bank account. She stared at her name printed on the card like it was the most precious thing she'd ever owned. By Thanksgiving, Rachel was still living with them. Sophie introduced her as her bonus sister to everyone. And David, well, he started humming again while fixing cars. Something had changed. But Rachel still struggled with fear. One evening while they decorated the Christmas tree, she whispered, I'm scared, David. Of what? Of being happy here. Of getting used to love. Because if it's taken away again, I don't think I'll survive it. David gently took her hand. Then don't be afraid. This isn't a temporary thing. This is your home. On Christmas morning, Sophie handed Rachel a hand-drawn card. It said, You are our best gift. Thank you for staying. 6 months later, David built a small guest room in the attic and surprised her. This isn't a couch anymore. This is your space. Not for just one night. For good. Rachel couldn't speak through the tears. She simply hugged him, tight, long, and with every ounce of trust she'd kept guarded all her life. And for the first time in years, David felt like his house, and his heart, were whole again. It started with a little girl's innocent question and a father's brave answer. But it ended with healing, hope, and a brand new family. If this story touched your heart, please like this video and subscribe to Kindness Stories for more powerful, real-life stories that remind us of the beauty of kindness.